Another All Elite Wrestling departure has been confirmed, but first we have the latest on the AEW exit of CM Punk. This past Saturday afternoon, All Elite Wrestling and Tony Khan would confirm that the AEW contracts of CM Punk had been terminated following a series of events that went down at Wembley Stadium last weekend at the AEW All in London pay-per-view. The official statement online would then be followed by an on-screen statement from Khan himself on the episode of Collision on Saturday night, who claimed that the decision was to protect the safety of AEW staff, with him adding that this was the first time he's feared for his life at a wrestling event, seemingly in preparation for a potential lawsuit in the future. Whilst we've covered what we know about the night in question over the course of the past few days, let's take a look at a fresh report coming from House of Wrestling that claims a meeting was scheduled prior to All In between CM Punk and the Elite that could have led to the end of backstage drama between the two sides, and Nick Hausman would write, "A sit-down with the relevant members of the Elite, CM Punk and Tony Khan was scheduled to take place last week ahead of AEW All in London, but was called off at the last minute by the Elite's camp. From what we understand, it was going to take place in Atlanta and Tony Khan would have been present. The summit was intended to bury the hatchet between both sides ahead of the historic AEW pay-per-view, and the cancellation of it appears to have added to Punk's overall frustrations with the situation heading into the event." We would then get a follow-up report from Fightful Select that noted that whilst the belief on the side of CM Punk was that the meeting was going ahead, those in the Elite camp claimed that the meeting was never officially set to take place, although the idea was floated, and Sean Ross Sapp would say, "Those close to Punk say the meeting was scheduled to happen, while those close to the Elite are adamant it was never going to happen. We've heard at least that a meeting was pitched, which seems to be something all sides agree with. We'd also heard that there was a brief interaction between Young Bucks and Punk in London, but when we asked Punk's camp about that, it was clear he was frustrated that the Elite still weren't open to talking to him." As I've said multiple times as of late, a meeting of this nature was essential to calming the backstage tensions, shots via the media, and on-screen jabs that only inflamed the situation, and it's unfortunate to hear that this was a possibility that never came to fruition. It also seems to be an issue of a lack of communication between both sides, which comes from the top down. With that said, it seems that this won't be the last we hear of CM Punk, as according to Sports Illustrated, a response from the Second City Saint is around the corner, and Justin Barrasso would note, "This is by no means the end of Phil Brooks as CM Punk. Sources close to both sides expect a response from Punk which holds the potential to be explosive. It is disappointing that, after so much promise just 2 years ago, the relationship ends in such a disjointed manner." What the nature of this response will be remains to be seen, whether it be showing up in the wrestling promotion to air his grievances, or more likely, an interview or podcast that sees Punk lay out his side of the story from A to B. And next, new champions have been crowned in WWE. Over the course of this past weekend, 2 pay-per-views would take place across both WWE and AEW, with Payback going down in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, whilst AEW All Out was held in Chicago, Illinois. Let's first start with what happened in Pittsburgh on Saturday night, an event that saw Finn Balor and Damian Priest of the Judgment Day battle Sami Zayn, as well as Kevin Owens under Street Fight rules for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships, titles they won in the main event of WrestleMania Night 1 earlier this year. The bout would see Balor become a WWE Grand Slam champion after he and Priest managed to claw their way to victory with the use of the Money in the Bank briefcase. The win means that Finn has now held the Tag Team, Universal, Intercontinental, and United States Championships, with this meeting the modern day requirements to be added to the Grand Slam list. It also means that the Judgment Day faction hold the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships with Priest and Balor, the NXT North American title with Dominic Mysterio, the Money in the Bank briefcase with Damian Priest, and the WWE Women's World Championship via Rhea Ripley. And next up, several champions managed to retain their titles at Payback. Across the course of Saturday night, the show would see 4 championship matches on the card, including the aforementioned tag team title match with the United States Women's World and Men's World Heavyweight Championships all up for grabs. First up, Rey Mysterio would overcome the challenge of former champion Austin Theory to hold on to his WWE United States Championship, with a victory roll being enough to secure the pinfall. Rhea Ripley would then manage to keep hold of her Women's World Championship when she dropped Raquel Rodriguez with a riptide following an assist from Dominic Mysterio to keep Mami on top. And the main event of the night would see Shinsuke Nakamura challenge Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. This when Japanese legend Keiji Muto, aka Great Muta, at ringside to show support for his fellow countrymen. However, the support wasn't enough, as Seth would walk away as still champion after a stomp, although the King of Strong Style would have the last laugh, having laid the Visionary out after the broadcast went off the air, with a Kinshasa being the final blow. Next up, a popular star has made their WWE return. Payback would be the home of the latest edition of the Grayson Waller Effect, with special guest Cody Rhodes. During the segment, Rhodes would make an announcement that was teased prior to the show, with him revealing the newest addition to the Monday Night Raw roster. The American Nightmare would say that he's used all of his political power and sway that he has, and has managed to bring Jey Uso to the Red brand, a move that he hopes he won't regret. This comes weeks after Jey walked out at the end of an episode of SmackDown where he stated that he's done with the bloodline and done with the WWE. After the announcement, Jey would make his way to the ring before laying out Grayson Waller with a super kick, this before the host could ask him any questions. And next up, a new champion has been crowned in AEW. As mentioned, Payback wasn't the only pay-per-view that went down this weekend, as AEW would host the All Out event in Chicago, Illinois. The show would see 6 championship matches on the card, although only one new champion was crowned on the night. The show's main event would see Orange Cassidy attempt to make his 32nd defense of the AEW International Championship when he went one-on-one with former AEW World Champion Jon Moxley. After an intense battle and 2 Death Riders, Moxley would finally manage to put Freshly Squeezed away on the night to kick off his first ever reign as the International Champion and his 3rd ever reign as part of AEW as a whole, adding to his 2 world title reigns. This brings an end to Cassidy's international title run as stretched over the course of the past 11 months. This after he defeated Pac last October to win the belt. Whilst Orange has done wonders for the International Championship during his reign, Moxley's win has added a new level of prestige, taking it closer to feeling like a main event title, and arguably more valuable than the TNT Championship. And next, a former WWE Superstar has made their AEW debut. Elsewhere at All Out, former TNT champion Miro would find himself in a hoss battle with Powerhouse Hobbs, as the 2 big men went blow to blow with heavy offense throughout. In the end, it was Miro that left with his hand raised before the 2 opponents shook hands in a show of respect. However, the handshake was all a ruse, as Hobbs would blindside the Bulgarian, a moment that then led to an AEW debut. Miro's wife CJ Perry, formerly Lana in WWE, would make her way to the ring to strike the Powerhouse with a steel chair before he left the scene. Perry was then left in the dark as her husband walked to the back, leaving her by herself in the ring whilst muttering, "You're not real." Over recent weeks, Miro has been speaking in promos about denouncing his god and his wife in order to focus all of his energy on his in-ring brutality, with the seeds now potentially planted for an on-screen reunion between the former Lana and Rusev. And next, has the next challenger for the AEW World Championship been revealed? And speaking of WWE reunions, AEW World Champion MJF's next feud has seemingly been revealed, with there being a callback to a past NXT moment on last night's AEW All Out pay-per-view. After successfully retaining the ROH World Tag Team titles alongside Adam Cole with a win over the Dark Order, MJF would make his way up the ramp as ROH Television Champion Samoa Joe made his way down to the ring for his upcoming title defense. As the 2 crossed paths, Joe would shove Max with his shoulder, an obvious callback to the time that MJF appeared in WWE as an extra during Samoa Joe's entrance at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn in 2016, one of many WWE appearances from the reigning AEW champ that we covered in the recent 10 Things MJF Doesn't Want You to Know video, where we revealed that the moment was actually pre-planned. In any case, Joe would be attacked by MJF in the ring, leading to a pull-apart brawl, with the 2 now likely set to lock up in the future with the belt on the line. Next up, another All Elite Wrestling departure has been confirmed. In a recent news video, we would bring you a story that revealed Sonny Kiss had been removed from the official roster page on the AEW website, sparking rumors that their days were over in the company. Well, according to a report coming from Fightful Select, Sonny's contract has now expired, with Kiss now hitting the free agency market, and the report notes, Sonny Kiss has finished up with AEW. AEW removed Sonny Kiss from their roster page at the end of August, prompting questions about Sonny's status. Fightful reached out to Sonny and confirmed that as of September, Sonny is no longer with AEW. We're told that Sonny's deal has expired. During the post-all-out media scrum, Tony Khan would then confirm the report, noting that it was impossible to renew every single contract in AEW. And before you go, make sure you check out 10 facts that MJF doesn't want you to know.